Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to take you on a rainy day tour through my garden. So if you're new here, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more crafty, planty, witchy, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff here. Subscribe and you'll see. But anyway, let's go outside and see what's growing in the garden. Green beans in this pot have started climbing, which is awesome. And the basil is just doing awesome too. Oh, a chamomile's blooming here. Great. And lots of dill back there, doing awesome. And then we've got some marigolds, which looks super cool because there's one variety right here and then a different variety over here. That's pretty cool. So you can see on the tomato plant we've got lots and lots of fruit. Here's some over here, and lots of flowers. So that's awesome. So that's the front porch, and then of course our little froggies. Just excuse the sounds of the city behind me. I live in the city. So this mint just doesn't quit. It just keeps growing and I keep tearing it back and it's huge. And we've got a shiso plant looking awesome. You can see the purple underside of the leaf. Very good vibes. One of the many nasturtiums. Tucked everywhere, and the onion is in full bloom now. So beautiful. Isn't that just so lovely? It's like a snowball. We've got the bronze snapdragons getting started. You can see they're little right now, but they'll grow. And behind them, that is a cleome, and then some kale as well. Some bok choy back there. Of course, we've got lots of basil throughout. And then there's a nice coleus right there. Oh no. Damage to my bok choy? Have the slugs returned? Anyway, here's another coleus. And then some basil, some kale. Oh, that's a Cosmo. I think it's going to be a bright purpley pink. Oh, that's going to be amazing. And you can see the nasturtium it's just so cool. It's growing so big. This is like 5-6 plants probably, all just jumbled in together, and you can see how big they're getting. Like, what are these leaves? They're so pretty. There's just so many colors. I know I said this in the last one, but look. So cute. And for my live stream crew, this is the coleus I was talking about the other day that I got on clearance at a garden center. Isn't it pretty? Over here beside the coleus planter, moving right along, there's kind of a setup of a few planters here. And in them I've got the blue salvia, so pretty, and some more calendula. There is a sage down here, and there's a clover, just a weed that got in, but I let it survive because I think it's pretty. Bok choy, and this next one's pretty neat. I've got a couple different coleus in here. This one is so pretty. It's so textured and just so totally weird looking. I love it. In real life, I hope that the camera can convey how cool it looks. It looks like leather in weird colors. And this is the same planter but a different coleus, and look at the colors on these ones. And then here is another one that is cute and I love. And then there's some petunias in here too. So I think this basket is going to fill out really pretty over time. With all the weird colors together, I think that'll be really cool. And then the basket behind it has that blue salvia again. And the calendula is putting out new flowers every single day, and it's looking so cute in here. One of the bok choy that we planted in February from seed is gonna go to seed. So we're gonna save seeds from this year's plant. Does that make sense? And then behind it, can you see that little tomato plant? So this little plant was actually just one of the suckers from a different plant. I just tore out the sucker and then I shoved it in the dirt and it rooted, and now we have this tiny little tomato plant. So bonus. And back into the garden bed, look at the amaranth love lies bleeding. Isn't it crazy? I don't know why we have hella flies in this garden, by the way. Like, so many flies. Ugh. Anyway though, the amaranth love lies bleeding isn't as big as last year, but it's still very showy. And I feel like the shiso underneath it is like pretty. It's like a good vibe, don't you think? And then behind it, we've got more cosmos. So these are, I think they're fuchsia, because I wanted it to go with the amaranth love lies bleeding. There's another one there. So I think this is gonna be the fuchsia, and then the red castor bean, you can see over here. And then more shiso, which when the wind is blowing has purple on the undersides of its leaves, which I think looks really cool. So this is kind of gonna be like purple. And then also, what are the other colors in here? Actually, it's a lot of purple. Did I not put any bronze in this at all? Where are my bronze things? Okay, here's something. So this is a teeny tiny marigold. It'll get bigger. So that'll be something bright and yellow. And then here is going to be the neon yellow marigold, the big huge one. And then a whole bunch more nasturtiums over here. So that'll be orange. So there's going to be this big fuchsia magic around the back and in the middle. And then the other colors are sort of towards the front, more oranges and yellows. And then another one of those dark coleus plants, and some parsley, and some Thai basil, and some oregano, and more basil. Here is what it's looking like from the side of that bed. Look at all those nasturtiums. They're all different sizes. Seedlings, established plants. Look, that one's flowering. So fun. I love nasturtiums. Look at how pretty these are. There's the whole thing. Let's try to look at this without it becoming completely blown out this time, shall we? Aren't these pretty? Petunias and nasturtiums. And the first nasturtium is blooming in this basket. It's gonna be so pretty with the petunias. And there's another one not far behind. So that hanging basket is looking awesome. Below the hanging basket, we've got the beautiful dark red castor bean. And that's sort of shadowing out everything below it, but I think that'll be okay because it's gonna be really tall and I'll just rip down those lower leaves as it gets a little bit more tree-like. But underneath it, we've got some cuttings from my Oxalis triangularis. We've got some little mini snapdragons here. These are also supposed to be snapdragons, but they don't really look it yet. They're so small. And then you can see there's a white vinca back there, and then this just, it doesn't even look like a real thing. Look at that vinca. And there's also a random bean growing in here, probably a burgundy bush bean, which I'm happy about. On this side you can see the chamomile is really bushing out. It's like taking up a lot of space now, which I'm happy about. And then the million bells in the front is starting to sort of pour over. Isn't that pretty? Also in there's a ton of basil. This is all lettuce leaf basil back here. Some in here also. A little bit more back there. Next we will move into the shade garden, which, look at that castor bean, is looking so cool. I'm really liking it. You can see up there I've added more string and also some wind chimes. So So first, the Monstera is doing awesome. She's unfurled a few leaves since we put her outside this spring. And now I tied her up to the pole here so that she can climb a little bit, hopefully. Should get sunburned on one of these leaves though. But the new leaves seem to be totally happy outdoors. Next we've got that crazy begonia, which is just beautiful. Let me show you its flower. Isn't that pretty? Has a little dirt on it because of the rain, but it's pretty. From this side, we can actually get right into the impatiens. These are the wildest color. They don't even make sense. They're just so pretty. Aren't they the best? And they bloom in the shade. It's so cool. Look how pretty they are. And I also have another one of those dark coleuses over here. So from this side in the basket, my bird of paradise doing well. You can see we are expecting another leaf shortly. You can see how that's kind of lighter on the side here. It's gonna be another leaf. Anyway, down in here, the Hoya is doing really well. We've got a new leaf in my Hoya cuttings, and we've got a new leaf coming out of this Monstera. And I chopped back all of this oxalis because I wanted to give it a fresh start, so it's all healthy new leaves. And then this oxalis back here, this is my variegated oxalis, and I have it living outside in the shade. Look at those variegated leaves. I just can't with this one. So every time it puts up a leaf that is not variegated, I let it get full size, but then I cut it off. So that there's only going to be variegated leaves on this eventually. It's small now, but maybe by the end of summer. On the other side of the shade garden, I've got these white impatiens, and I think this would be the most beautiful garden, just white impatiens and hostas. Look at that combination. How pretty are those things together? Something to think about. My shade planter is doing awesome. You can see the fern, and there's violets that are dying back, and the hosta in here, and I've also got this beautiful Oxalis triangularis. So pretty, look at that. Urgh. And then more impatiens back here in that color that doesn't even look like a real color. It seems like a color beyond comprehension. More beautiful white impatiens back there, and then more magical ultraviolet magic impatiens. So there is the shade garden from the shadiest side. Oh, also this beauty. Wow. From the outside, we've got this mint planter with nasturtiums coming out of it. You will notice there are nasturtiums coming out of every planter, even if it doesn't seem like a planter for nasturtiums. But this is a mint planter. This is all chocolate mint. And then there's a beautiful big shiso. I feel like this is like very rainforesty. The mint is so lush, and then the big leaves of the monstera, the begonia, the shiso. I really love this area. And then this planter here, this one is mostly greens, but also it has flowers in it as well. So you can see the beautiful coleus. We grew this one together from seed. Starting in like February, we've been caring for this plant, and now look how pretty it is. And then we've got some curly kale. There's also petunias in here, obviously. I have a croton, don't know why, it just is in there. Some nasturtiums, of course, and then also some bok choy back there. There's also a marigold in the middle, but it's still mostly greens. And then, of course, the big, beautiful castor bean. This thing is majestic. It's gonna get so big by the end of summer. If you've been around this channel for a while, you remember how big the castor bean got last year. Imagine if it got that big here. That would be crazy. It's like a tree. And behind it, actually, this is a good spot to go to the Bird of Paradise. So you can see it's a little bit wind damaged now. The leaves are a little bit worse for wear. There's the weird tree. Infamous weird tree. But that's okay. I'm okay with having some wind damage because I feel like the benefit of all this sunlight is going to translate to more leaves, which is great. In front of my Bird of Paradise, there is another coleus. This one is like, what is happening? Seriously, coleus is like my new obsession. I'm completely enamored with them. But anyway, there's coleus in there. There's also dill, some basil. This is just like regular sweet basil. And then back there, there is some summer savory as well. And at the front of this pot, there is a bright reddish fuchsia snapdragon, just leaning over. It's so heavy. I'll probably cut that off tomorrow so that it can bush out a little bit, but it's so pretty. The lemon tree is amazing. Like, what is even happening? Look at all these new leaves. That's crazy. There's so many new leaves. This lemon tree. Doing the most. Look how many leaves are on this tree now. Wow! And then just next to it, we've got the elephant ear, looking also quite majestic, if I do say so myself. And you can see a morning glory from today. Unfortunately, the morning glories are short-lived, but it's pretty. What's left of it is still pretty. And look, a green bean. And look, another green bean. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. There's another nasturtium in there. Another bowl of oxalis. And then some lemon basil. This is purple lemon basil. When I dehydrated it, it almost went black. It's so pretty, and it gives such a bright lemony flavor. Look at how big this nasturtium leaf is. Look at that. And the green beans are doing awesome. This weird single marigold that I love so much has put its first blossom out, which is great. And all the green beans are vining, which I'm very happy about. And we've been picking green beans fairly regularly. Not quite like full side dish status yet, but soon. There's also the catnip in that bin, and then the huckleberries, which have all now turned black. Aren't they weird? So pretty. They're so dark, so shiny. And in here there is another Amaranth Lovelace bleeding, looking beautiful. Back in here is a Mexican sunflower, and there's another Mexican sunflower in the bin right next to it. And behind that is tarragon, summer savory, I don't remember. And then the dreaded cilantro. I don't really like cilantro. In this planter here, there is a Cosmo, and then also my lemongrass, which is doing awesome, a beautiful nasturtium, and chamomile coming out of there. Next, beautiful lavender is blooming, so pretty. And in that planter there's another dark coleus, some sage, and then more of the beautiful bronze snapdragons coming up. Behind there, look at these jalapenos. And that green, we've been eating this. This has actually been a fun green that I've been adding to our dinners. More dill, love dill. Some radishes back there that aren't ready yet. And then here's the cleome. Check this out. Da, 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 da. Cleome. That's another snapdragon. Here's the calendula. My sweet potato is going wild. There's another snapdragon falling over, another Mexican sunflower, and guess what? We've got peas, we've got peas, we've got purple peas, we've got more purple peas, we've got green peas. We're getting some peas now, people, and also the catnip has started to flower. Another beautiful nasturtium, another beautiful dill plant. A nice zinnia coming in. No flowers yet, but they're coming. Oh, look! A zinnia that's just about to bloom. I didn't see that one yet. Same planter as that zinnia, more of the purple, purple salvia. And then below it, there's this beautiful coleus down there, some nasturtium, another beautiful coleus, and a bunch of petunias. So pretty. And the million bells back there. And then over here, we've got another zinnia. This one's already, I've cut flowers off of this, so this one's actually been putting out flowers already. Behind it is actually a giant zinnia. This one hasn't opened all the way yet, but it's almost there. Back here we've got lots of peas. There's a purple one right there. I'm gonna eat that because it's in front of me. There's a green one. Some more green ones. And in front of the peas, we've got more cosmos here. A little tomato plant. That marigold still hasn't bloomed. I still think it's gonna be like lemon yellow. The larkspur is still looking just magical, opening new flowers every day. Look at this coleus. I have a lot of coleus this year, you guys. Another little planter with some larkspur, a little marigold, a pretty coleus. I transplanted a mint planter into this basket because nothing can kill mint, and this basket wasn't doing well, so I decided the mint won't die in here, so I'll put mint in there. Oh, also, look, the blue bachelor's button. So pretty. And there's a purple one. And behind that is the beautiful, isn't this section so pretty? The marigolds are so bright orange, and then there's like a bunch of purpley red things around it, and some blues. And these are going to be, I think these ones are going to be pink, the cosmos back there in front of the peas. And then there's another bush bean over here. Oh, and look, it's got beans ready to pick. I forgot to say, in this container garden I also planted a bunch of greens, but every time the squirrels come through the garden they sort of mess them up, so there's not very many left. But I tried. And I'll keep trying. And last but not least, we've got this planter, which is like mostly salad greens. I transplanted one of those skinny little lettuces over here, and it seems to be pretty happy with that. And then also there's a bunch of bok choy. There's a really pretty coleus. More million bells. Look how much this has grown. Also, we've got flax growing. Did I tell you that last time? These plants are flax, like flaxseed. Flax. Like they grew from flax seeds that I threw out here. And now they are making flax seeds here. And blooming. They make a really pretty little blue flower. None of them are blooming right now, but we're growing flax, I guess. And this is the bonus garden. It's beside the house, and it's growing through the cracks in the cement. And it seeded itself, and I just let it happen. But this is basil. This is all lemon basil. Isn't that crazy? So seeds blew in. Alright friends, well that's it. That's the whole garden. We went all the way around. What do you think? It's coming along. It's filling in pretty well. I'm pretty happy with it, I will say. But let me know what you think. How's your garden going? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe, like the video if you haven't done so already, and I'll see you next time. And by the way, thank you so much to my patrons. Thank you guys. I really do appreciate you supporting me on Patreon. You guys are awesome. And if you'd like to join my Patreon this week, you're gonna get a coloring page of, how about that? The backyard. Let's do a coloring page of the backyard. So check out my Patreon for that, and I'll see you next week. Bye!